Hello friends, in this session let us move on to derive the Adams-Bashforth character formula. In the previous session, as you have seen, the predictor character method we have started with, particularly the Adams-Bashforth method, and we were able to derive the predictor formula of the Adams-Bashforth method. So what was the predictor formula of the Adams-Bashforth method? That we have derived very systematically in detail. So here is the predictor formula, and we usually take that predicted value of y at xi plus 1, that is yi plus 1, as yi plus 1 with superscript p, and this was the thing which we have derived at the end of our previous session. You can refer that session, you can revisit that session, and you can have the better explanation regarding the derivation of this particular formula, that is the predictor formula of Adams-Bashforth method. Now we shall use the same technique. We will not be having any different procedure here to derive the character formula. We are having the same way to go. We will follow the same technique to derive the character formula of Adams-Bashforth method. So what we have seen in the previous session, from the given initial value problem, we can obtain this equation number 2. Just I have told you what should be done. We have to integrate the given equation, that is the given differential equation, when made slight modification, that is symbols have been changed, dx onto RHS if you take, and then if you integrate between the limits xi and xi plus 1, you will observe equation number the result as in equation number 2. That's all. This is there in the previous session. You can please review it. Now to evaluate the integral on the integral of this integrand, it is necessary to again consider the Newton's backward interpolation formula. That is very important. I have told you that since this integrand is involving the dependent variable y, slightly difficult to integrate, therefore that should be approximated with the help of so-called interpolation formula. One of the best interpolation formula that can be used here is Newton's backward interpolation formula, the same thing which we are using, and in this case, we, instead of using the Newton's backward interpolation formula at the point xi, we are using the same formula at the point xi plus 1, because in the previous session we have obtained the value of yi plus 1, which is the predicted value. So that value is now available to us. So therefore, why can't we use that particular value for the next step of our solution? So therefore, we are using the value of y at the point xi plus 1 as the point of as the initial point of our interpolation, and we are going to interpolate at the point xi plus 1. So what is this xi plus the interpolation formula for the point xi plus 1 looks like? You please observe, this is the thing we are having over here, exactly the same thing what we have seen in the previous session. You can have a look at that video where we have discussed about the predictor formula. We were having exactly the similar thing, only difference was here there was fi, here there was fi, here there was fi, here there was fi. And now we are having fi plus 1, fi plus 1, fi plus 1, fi plus 1. You can ask me why it is so. It is because in that case we were not aware of what actually yi plus 1 is. Therefore, we did not take this fi plus 1 in that case. But now we are having some rough idea about yi plus 1. How? From the predictor formula, we are having some rough idea of this particular value, and therefore we can use it. And therefore, instead of using fi, it is better if we use fi plus 1. So fi plus 1, fi plus 1, everywhere we are having fi plus 1. That is the thing you have to understand. Now in this formula, again, what are the things? Fi plus 1 means f at xi, comma yi plus 1. That's what I am saying over here. This yi is nothing but predicted value that we will take in the first step. That I will speak about that later on. Okay, now what is r? R actually is to be obtained from this expression. Again, xi plus 1 is the first point, and with the increment of rh to that, we can have the general point x. So therefore x can be like this, and here r is the new variable now coming. Here x was the variable, now that variable x is disappearing because of this substitution, and when disappears, dx should also be replaced with the dr. So for that reason we use this expression. Now the above equation we have to simplify. Simplification is nothing but only the brackets are to be multiplied, that's all, nothing else. So after that we have this particular thing, no difference at all. Now after having this expression, we can use this particular thing to find what is dx. So dx is equal to, this is going to be 0 after differentiation. H is a constant as it is, differentiation of r is dr. So dx is nothing but h into dr, that we can substitute in equation number 2 in place of dx. Now that integrand can be replaced by this entire expression. Now we have to tell what are the lower limit and upper limit. That is also very important. Just now I have told you this integration we are going to evaluate. So we got the value for this integrand, that is the interpolation polynomial, and dx is to be replaced by h dr. And what are the values of the lower limit and upper limit? Because in this equation number 2 the limits are for x, so it is x is equal to xi, and here it is x is equal to xi plus 1. So these are the two limits we are having for x. Now they have to be changed for r. So what happens, because we are changing it with HDR, so the integration is now becoming with respect to r. Therefore the lower limit what it should be, so what is the value of r at the lower case, and what is the upper limit for r, that we have to estimate. So we are struggling for that. We will take x is equal to xi and we will find out what r is. We will take x is equal to xi plus 1, we will find out what r is. So that is the thing over here. You please have a look at this. So when we have x is equal to xi, when we have x is equal to xi, what happens? See, in place of x we are writing in place of x, we know that xi is x is equal to xi plus rh. All of us know, that's what I have written, the value of x I have written, and I am taking x is equal to xi on RHS. So RHS as it is, only LHS I have changed. Now xi can be written as xi plus 1 minus h. Why? Because we know that xi plus 1 is equal to xi plus h. Xi plus 1 is equal to xi plus h. Therefore xi is equal to xi plus 1 minus h. That's what I have written over here. Now this xi plus 1 cancels with this xi plus 1, and this h cancels with this h. This h cancels with this h. So the remaining thing is r equals to minus 1. So when it cancels, only minus 1 will be remaining. So ultimately I will end up with r equal to minus 1. That will be the lower limit. So after evaluating the lower limit, let us move on to evaluate the upper limit. What is the upper limit? X is equal to xi plus 1. So x value is, according to this definition, it is xi plus 1 rh. On RHS it is xi plus 1 because of our upper limit. Now I can cancel this xi plus 1 with this xi plus 1. RHS remains as 0. So when this is 0, h cannot be 0, therefore only possibility is that r is equal to 0. So the upper limit is going to be r equal to 0. That's what you can observe over here, r equal to 0. So I am having lower limit minus 1, upper limit 0. I can substitute them over here and I can replace this integrand with this interpolating polynomial in equation number 2. I have done everything in equation number 2 because there we are struck up. So that we are now continuing with this new substitution. Now the integration is in our hand and we can do it very easily. First let us take this h outside here because it is a constant. Let us take it outside. In this step I have taken it outside, the rest of the things as they are. Now integration is to be done. Let us keep the other things as they are. So first of all, yi has been kept as it is, h has been kept as it is. Now let us move on integration. So fi plus 1, it is a constant, keep it as it is. Here 1 is multiplied with that. So integration of 1 with respect to r is r. So lower limit is -1, upper limit is 0. So the first term integration is over. This is over. Now look at this. Here del fi plus 1 is a constant. Keep it as it is. Now integration of r with respect to r is r square by 2. Integration of r with respect to r is r square by 2. The lower limit is -1, upper limit is 0. So this is over. The second term finished. Now the third term. In the third term, this del square fi is a constant. Keep it as it is. So we have retained it as it is. Again this 1 by 2, it is also a constant. Let us keep it as it is here outside the bracket. Now only thing we have to deal with is r square plus r. This thing r square plus r. Integration of r square is r cube by 3 plus integration of r is r square by 2. So integration of this quantity is over. Lower limit is -1, upper limit is 0. So even we have completed the third term. So it is very systematically going. I hope you are understanding. Now let us look at the integration of this particular term. So what is the integration of this? Here 1 by 6, which is the coefficient 1, integration of this particular thing, that is 1 by 6. Before going to do the integration, 1 by 6, which is the coefficient that has been written here, 1 by 6 outside as it is. Now del cube fi plus 1 is also a constant. Let us keep it outside. Now only thing we have to integrate is this particular bracket. So integration of r cube is r4 by 4, 3 as it is here. Integration of r square is r cube by 3, 2 as it is. Integration of r is r square by 2. Lower limit is minus, upper limit is 0. So this is also over. So all the terms have been evaluated, that is the obtained, or the integral of all the terms have been obtained. Now it is the time to substitute the upper limit, 0. When we substitute 0, you please observe every term is going to vanish. No term will be there in your hand. It will contribute nothing. It will be simply 0, because each term is containing r. Here r is there, here r is there. Here both of the terms are with r. Here all the three terms are having r. Therefore in place of r, if you substitute 0, every term will be 0. Simply it is 0. So minus lower limit -1 you have to substitute. Minus 1. So lower limit, that is -1. When you substitute and simplify, you will end up with this particular expression. So you have to simplify all the things by taking LCM and all. So the first term will be 1, second term will be 1, 1 by 2 is a coefficient, second term will be same -1. So this is as it is. Now here -1 by 12 remains, here -1 by 24 remains. So these are the coefficients and other things are same. Now I can use the definition of backward differences again, just as I have shown you in the previous predictor formula. In the same way, I can use the definition of the predictor, that is backward differences. For example, del fi plus 1 is fi plus 1 minus fi, and del square fi plus 1, what is that? Fi plus 1 minus 2 fi plus fi minus 1 previous to that, like that. So I can use even the definition of this. I can use the definition of each of the backward differences, and if I substitute and simplify and take the LCM 24, and if I keep it outside, it looks like, after simplification, the final step I am writing over here, it looks like this particular expression. Very important. This is yi plus 1 equals to yi. That is the basic thing. Keep it as it is. The remaining thing is the increment. This is all the increment, h by 24 into the bracket 9 times of fi plus 1 plus 19 times of fi minus 5 times of fi minus 1 plus fi minus 2. So this is the thing I am having over here after simplification, and this is the most important thing which I am intended to find. And this particular thing which is visible to all of you. This is the final step. This is the required Adams-Bashforth formula. Adams-Bashforth corrector formula, particularly because it is the correction. It is going to correct the predicted value because it is using the predicted value here in this thing. You can observe this fi plus 1 means the value of f at xi plus 1. This is the new point, comma yi plus 1. You can ask me, sir, we are having here yi plus 1 on LHS and here also yi plus 1. How it is possible? Yes, it is possible because we are having the previous value of yi plus 1 from the predicted formula. So the predicted formula, predictor formula which has given us yi plus 1 with superscript p, that we can substitute it here and we can get the value of fi plus 1. So therefore this is the formula which is doing correction to this value. Therefore the formula is called as the corrector formula and it gives the improved value of yi plus 1 and it is obtained from the yi plus 1 which is previously obtained from the predicted value, which I have shown you in this video also in the beginning. What is the predictor formula is, you can have a look at that afterwards. You can rewind the video and you can see the beginning of the video what actually the predictor formula is. You will come to know. Now here I should say something. On the right hand side, just now I told you fi plus 1 stands for xi plus 1, f at xi plus 1 comma yi plus 1. yi plus 1 is nothing but the predicted value. I have to replace yi plus 1 with this predicted value which I have obtained in the by the predictor formula. Now what we are having? We are having ultimately this particular formula. Out of this I am having this formula. That's all, nothing else. What I have done, nothing. I have simply used the notation yi plus 1c. So I have used the symbol yi plus 1c because it is correcting the value. So let us use the c notation for superscript c for denoting the corrected value. So this is the first corrected value I am getting here. I am getting here the first corrected value from this particular formula. In this formula, in place of yi plus 1, I am using the predicted predicted value which I obtained from the predictor formula in place of yi plus 1, and I got the first correction of yi plus 1. So this is the first corrected value of yi plus 1 that we obtain from this corrector formula. After obtaining the first correction yi plus 1c, we should not stop. We will once again do another improvement. We should try for another improvement. We should try for another correction. I can think that why can I reuse the value which I obtain here yi plus 1c in the first step. That is the first iteration. I will get the first correction to this. Instead of using this predicted value, I can use this new value. I can use this new value here in place of this and I can get the second correction. I can get the second correction to yi plus 1. That is in the second iteration. And I can go for the third iteration also because I have second iterated value, second improved value, and I can use it in place of yi plus 1 here, the second iterated value. Thereby I can get the third iterated value. So likewise I can go on substituting the previously corrected value in place of yi plus 1 in the formula 11 to get the successive corrections to the value of yi plus 1. That is very, very important. So the successive corrections of yi plus 1 can be made with the help of equation 11. In each step we use the previously corrected value of yi plus 1. So that is what. Therefore formula 1 is called as the iterative type of formula. Formula 1 is called as the iterative type of formula and it can be repeatedly used to get the further improved values of yi plus 1. So once it is an iterative process, it should come to an end. When should we stop the iteration process? The iteration process must be stopped when we obtain the values of yi, that is the two corrected values of yi plus 1 are same up to the desired number of decimal places, then we can stop the iteration process and we can consider the final value as the required value of the unknown y at the point xi plus 1. Now here predictor formula, we are having some important notes to be to be taken over here. The first one is predictor formula is the explicit formula and corrector formula is implicit formula, that we have to keep in mind. And one more thing I have already explained you, modified Euler's method is a single step predictor corrector method, that I want to recall you once again at this point of time. So modified Euler's method, which we have discussed in our one of the previous videos, that is a single step predictor corrector method. So that fact keeping in mind, now we can look at this particular thing. To employ the Adams-Bashforth predictor corrector method, we require some starting values. How many starting values are required? 4 starting values are required, and those values are obtained with the help of any one of the earlier methods. So that is the thing. For example, we want to compute the value of y at xi plus that is in order to compute the value of y at x1, that is y1 if at all we want to compute the value of y at x1, if we want to compute, that is y1, we require 4 previous values: y0, y minus 1, y minus 2, y minus 3. These 4 values are required. Out of these 4 values, the very basic value, this will be given in the initial condition, and these 3 values are to be computed using the so-called earlier known methods. So now there will be totally 4 values in our end. I can use them in the formula and I can get the required value of unknown at the point I plus 1. So why can't we take I equal to 0 and look at the situation particularly? So when I substitute I equal to 0 in the formulae of both the predictor and corrector, how the formulae look like? You see how beautifully the formulae look like. So y1 it becomes yi plus 1 means 0 plus 1 y1. So it is y1 here. Predicted value of y1, corrected value of y1. Both are having y0 here, that you have to understand it. This formula in the Adams-Bashforth formula, it is going to be something different in the Mylan's predictor corrector formula. I will come to that later on. So here it will be y0 and here it will be y2 in the next case. I will tell you how it happens in the case of Mylan's method. Don't get confused. We will discuss it at that moment. Now here both are y0 and both coefficients are h by 24. Very easy to remember this portion. And now only these increments are to be remembered. You please have your own technique, you memorize, and you will get the value of these things. That is, you will have the memory of these three coefficients, and these two are the formulae which are of our interest, and these are called as the Adams-Bashforth predictor formula and the corrector formula. And I hope this is enough for this session. If you want the detailed explanation regarding this particular derivation, you can have the reference of this textbook. So with this, let me conclude. Thank you one and all.